I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's okay, 'cause it'll be a while before we move. And Hillary, will you please do the roll call?
Chair Joan Jones.
Here.
Vice Chair Zabriskie.
Here.
Committee members Jan Holen.
Here.
Alicia Barr.
She's walking through the door.
Oh, there.
Alicia Barr is
Stay here.
here. Travis Gribble. Mark is absent. Tim Rupert.
Here. Sorry.
Corey Caldwell. Mark is absent. Jessica Penman.
Here.
Stephanie Olivieri.
Here.
Pam Hobday.
Here.
Brian Wright.
Here.
Stay here.
Here.
Hobday.
Here.
Jeffrey Manasco.
Here.
Alexis Aller. Mark is absent.
She's coming.
Lisa Wallace.
Here.
And Mayor, or council member, still listed on here as mayor, Lindsay Rowe.
Here.
Great, thank you. Right on cue, I'm gonna ask Hillary to also, before we move into public comment, to explain a little bit about the different table configuration and what we've got going on.
Yeah, so we have a slightly different setup this week. You'll notice we have some microphones. So we have microphones on the tables as well as the ceiling mics that are in use. Those are amplifying a bit in the room, but they also are being used to record the meetings. So our meetings are now available to watch on Zoom. So it's to watching only, not a participation setting. And then we also are recording them, and that video will be posted and available after the meetings, just to add additional opportunities for the public to watch and stay engaged in the project. So we're hoping the technology all works out for us tonight. We're gonna sort of adjust as we need to as we move forward with that. And then the other difference tonight is we also have table tents for everybody. We have a pretty big group and members of the public who are engaged, so we made those for all of you. If you can flip around your table tent once you find your seat so we can see those. And just a reminder of both names as well as what seat each committee member is filling on the committee.
Thank you. One question on that, how does a public member find the Zoom link?
It is posted with the meeting agenda on the town calendar. And we'll post the video as part of our meeting record as well.
Great, thank you. Now I will open for public comment for any item not on tonight's agenda. If you'd like to make a comment, please state your name, and I think you could just stand up, especially now that we have, oh no, maybe we have to come to the podium.
It should take them up as long as we can.
Okay, so just stand up, state your name. You have 3 minutes to make a comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment. And we will move in, just to, procedurally, we're gonna maybe move around a few items on the agenda tonight. Stephanie Grigsby is in a traffic congestion in Crystal Bay. So they're holding cars right now there, so she can't get here. But Kristen York is going to hunt and help us out tonight. But we're gonna delay as much as we can.
You're a good punter.
Yeah. So, I will move into the consent items. We have February 6, 2024 minutes. Does any member of staff want to pull an item? Pull the item? Public? Committee members? Seeing none, no, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll motion we approve.
Second.
Got a second? Got those? Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I have to abstain. Lisa, I was not present.
Thank you. Presentations. Come back to Hillary. Does staff have any updates for us?
We do, and just one more thing on the microphones I should have mentioned. Green light means it's on. They are set up so that they should be sort of picking up the whole length of the tables. You don't need to speak directly into it, but let's try to keep them on unless we're getting weird feedback. A couple updates from staff. First, we have a new committee member who will be joining us at our next meeting, and that's Corey Caldwell, who is the new executive director of the Truckee Downtown Merchants Association, filling in Cassie's previous seat. So we're very excited to have him joining us. He'll be joining in April. He was not able to make it this evening, but we do have Ren Cavallo, who's joined us from the TDMA board. So we're very excited to have her here as well. She's going to attempt to attend meetings as much as she can as a interested stakeholder and member of the public, as well as business owner on West River Street. So thank you, Ren. Let's see, we have in the agenda packet a copy of a strategic work plan update that went to town council last week. This is the River Revitalization Steering Committee is one component of our larger strategic work plan, which is a 2-year work plan. So each quarter we bring an update to town council on where we are with progress on different actions. So we just wanted to provide that to the committee so you can see what was presented to your council. And then a quick update on the resident seats. So we did a recruitment for the 2 resident seats that your committee has added. We had that open for a couple of weeks, and we had folks go door to door to residences throughout the project area, so East River, West River, Foxmead, and Riverside Drive, and hand out sort of door hangers in English and Spanish at all the residences there, except for their small handful that had no solicitation signs, so not at those ones, but the rest. And we had a good response. We had 10 letters of interest or emails of interest submitted for those 2 seats. And we have submitted those to our 2 council member representatives, Jan and Lindsay. They are in charge of appointing our 2 new committee members per council's direction. So they are reviewing those, and we'll be following up on next steps, hoping to have those seats filled by our next meeting.
Right, we hope to have someone selected in time for them to attend, because they'll also need to spend a little bit of time catching up with what we've already accomplished.
Yeah, and we will certainly offer for staff to meet with those 2, either one-on-one or both of them together, to get them caught up and answer any questions, so they can jump in on the committee. That's all my staff updates. Did you have anything else?
I do not, but we'll note that Alexis is here.
Welcome,
Thanks for
Alexis.
joining us.
And lastly, I guess I should have mentioned, we have
Yes,
Carissa.
I should-
So we're very excited to have Carissa back from leave. She is currently back part-time, but will be trying to attend our RTSC meetings. And then, so for day-to-day correspondence on the committee, if you have questions, please continue to reach out to me, because Carissa is not working every day, but we're super excited to have her back and get involved again.
And
I'm excited.
Thanks for being here.
We missed you. Yes.
Recap, Alexis, we're recording these meetings now.
Yeah.
This is why it looks like this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I also promoted that on the map Zoom social media today.
Great.
Great,
That's all.
thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
can I have a question to Hillary about a staff report?
yeah, sure.
I'd like to hear from Lindsay and Jan. What were the comments from council regarding the work plan?
Well, I can share this, this is an item, we get quarterly updates.
Right.
We did not have any specific items regarding this committee,
Okay,
so,
There was no questions that
Yeah.
came in on the updates for
that's
this
what I
meeting?
was
Yeah.
thinking. Were there any questions or anything that both of you
No.
we should know about? Thank you.
But you will see later on the agenda, we do have discussion of a update to council, so that will be more of a presentation update, so
Yeah.
we'll talk about what that will look like.
Thank you.
And I will open for public comment on the presentation item. Any public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment, and we will move on to the discussion items. The first one is the Business and Property Owner Inventory Subcommittee update. And is that Clarissa?
It is.
Oh, great.
I just have a quick update for everybody. Like Hillary mentioned, I'm just back part-time at this point, still looking for childcare if anyone knows any leads. And so just an update there. The postcard, like Hillary mentioned, went out, and the survey link that was on the postcard to all of the property and business owners that we knew about on East and West River Street is also on our webpage. We've received 10 responses so far. So we're taking that information as well as, thank you, Richard, we got some mailing addresses for properties on East and West River Street from TTSA. So we're taking that information as new resources for our inventory spreadsheet, and I'm gonna cross-reference those and be updating those. So that's our quick update.
Anything to add from the committee chairs? Any other information?
No.
Okay.
Right, we have to say it out loud. No.
Yeah, great. So I will ask for public comment on that item. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. And are we ready to move into plans and goals?
Sure,
Great.
let's do it.
Um,
It would be done by the time she gets here, but that's okay. All right.
I can, we can delay a little more if you'd like.
You have other things?
Yeah,
Yeah, just do a little bit, 'cause I know she's gonna be bummed. if she
Okay.
misses the conversation.
okay. So, we're going to move on to 6.4. And that is an R2SC update to town council, and Jen is gonna take that item.
Thank you, Chair. So we were thinking it was time to give a bigger update to council on what you've discussed so far and where you're at and what your next steps are. Council member Romack and Vice Mayor Zabriskie give a regular update in their council updates at the end of each meeting, but it's fairly small. And so we'd like to talk about what that looks like. I think there's a few different options. Staff can support the chair in giving a presentation update to council if that's preferred. Staff could take the lead and do it and have either the chair there to answer questions or the two council members. The two council members could play a bigger role. Or we could talk about other committee members assisting with that too. So we wanted to just have a small discussion item. And if there was a preference, if you want us to work with the chair and just move forward with something, I think our hope is to do that at the March 26th meeting, but we haven't confirmed dates on that, so there's some flexibility there. Any thoughts? Any strong opinions?
I think having staff work with the chair sounds like the right move, good move, and committee input where the chair feels it necessary.
That's fine.
I think a lot of
That's
the
for me.
update could end up being very process oriented, so I just would make a request to do the best you can to add content. Not only what's the plan, but we haven't been meeting that long, I know. There's not necessarily a lot content wise that we've gotten through, but yeah, just to emphasize that so it doesn't, to the public especially watching, it just doesn't seem like it's just an endless set of next steps.
I would just request that the project process that was given to us at the last meeting be emphasized, because it's a heavy lift, it's fast-paced, and to energize everyone on town council to get involved.
Yes. I think it would be a good opportunity for us to, we'll still have a little bit of an open period for the action team recruitment, so we can reinforce that people are interested in being involved.
Yes.
If there was still be a few days to submit applications. Okay. So I'm hearing we'll work with the chair and do a short presentation just to keep everybody updated on where we're at. Okay.
And with that, I will open that item for public comment. Welcome, Travis.
Sorry I'm late.
Okay, just an update. We are live on a Zoom link, and we're being recorded for future review. If anybody wanted to watch a video later. And so your mic is live and we're picking up sound as well. Seeing no public comment, I will close public comment on that item. And we will move to action team recruitment update. Jen and Katie from East River PR. Try to jump ahead on you guys. You good?
Oh.
Are you ready?
I just like to stand here.
That's fine, I know you do.
Listen.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. So, quick update, actually was unfolding in the office today. We drafted and worked quickly with Hillary, so thank you for being available on a press release announcing the 2 action teams that are being formed and a call for community members to come out. So we got that over to Moonshine Inc. because they have their deadline today for news briefs. So offered up a shorter version, and at any rate, the way we plan to get the word out about the action teams is through the press release was a start, and then that becomes a news brief. The content will go over to Hillary to get out through e-Notify. We're gonna do some talking points for a community spotlight that Jen has reserved with KTKE. We'll get out to our pretty robust HOA and nonprofit list. I know a lot of representatives of the nonprofits are here in the room, so try to get out through their members and contacts, and then do some branded social posts. So that's our plan.
Just a reminder, we have the 2 committees we have are the River Health and Access Committee and the Community Vitality Action.
Yeah, we actually called it the Community Economic Vitality.
Oh, thank you. That was missing on my notes here.
Yeah, and then.
We made that adjustment this afternoon because we felt like even if we end up calling it Community Vitality Committee, when people are applying, they might not know what that means. So we added the term economic in there to help clarify what the goal was.
So both of those recruitments are open through March 29th. I think that's right.
Yeah.
And we've tried to keep the application process pretty simple, so just sending an email to me and I'll compile those with their interest and relevant experience in the area, so either economic vitality or river health, so that we can get some good folks there. I've already had a few people reach out to me just based off of committee minutes and announcing that we were going to be adding these action teams, so I have a list of a few folks already, so I'll make sure to send those out too.
Just a reminder that when Richard Anderson came, he requested representing Trout Unlimited to be part.
He is one on the list.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is there I forgot, is there a membership amount we're looking for, or are these open to, I mean, I know we don't want a 30-member action team, but I forgot, were we targeting or no?
I don't know that we ever
Okay.
discussed that.
We did have that in, let me pull up the presentation slides from our last meeting. I think we were targeting 2 to 3 R2SC committee members, and then 3 to 4-ish community members. Yeah, so we had 2 to 4 steering committee members and 3 to 4 community members was sort of the target. We'll see how much interest we get, and we could always flex that if we felt like we wanted to.
Okay.
And clarification, there was some R2SC subcommittee groups that were being pulled together. I know one was communications. I don't know if the other one is this community vitality. Maybe you can refresh my memory on that.
Yeah, so we have sort of committee advisors on communications. So we had, I think, about 5 folks last meeting step up that they were interested in doing that. So we did hold one meeting, I think last week, to discuss the first engagement window. We'll be talking about that later at this meeting. In that sort of getting their first eyes and feedback on the plan for engagement. That meeting, as a sort of smaller group of advisors and pulling that together sort of on an as-needed basis. That's not a Brown Act committee, so it's just whichever committee members are interested in joining those meetings are invited, and then we are opening the meeting up to the public for anybody from the public who would like to attend as well, and posting those agendas. The two new action teams will be Brown Act subcommittees. So the distinction there is if you appoint a subcommittee that has both members of the committee as well as other members of the public, that automatically becomes a Brown Act subcommittee. So that's sort of the difference there. But the two new action teams will be River Health and Access and Community Economic Vitality.
Just to clarify, we haven't appointed committee members to those yet, correct?
Correct.
These committees, okay. Because I wasn't here.
And when do you foresee doing the committee members for those two groups?
I think it would make sense to appoint that at our next committee meeting.
Okay.
So April 2nd.
So I would just say, if you're interested, think about whether you're interested in one or the other of those.
Yeah. Alexis.
Didn't Stephanie last month take down our names who was interested? Okay.
That's in the.
I was just making sure.
It's
that-
in-
yeah, in the
right.
minutes.
So.
We do have folks who said that
Yes.
they wanted to join, but we
Right.
haven't officially sort of appointed a subcommittee.
I guess I have officially decided.
Thank you. In the meeting of one, yeah. Great. Any other questions on this topic? And there, I will open for public comment on this item. Seeing none, I'll close public comment on that item as well. And now I think we've run out of, we've run out. So we're up to the plans and goals.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Full disclaimer, this is not my PowerPoint, but I did review it, so I'm gonna present from it, which I hate to do, but we're gonna get to work. Okay? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through the slides pretty quick because it should all be reviewed to everybody. And if there's one thing I hate is redundancy, so we're gonna go through it. We're gonna get on to actions.
Great, we like
Okay.
that too.
Oh, yes, yeah, I got a weird one here. You got it? Okay. So I'm gonna pass these around, and you each take however many you feel like writing on. So I would suggest 2 to 5. These are for your goals and ideas. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna review the areas that we've talked about in the last 3 meetings, the original goals, and that we then distilled to 3 themes. Anybody remember the 3 themes? Restore.
Revive.
Revive?
Reimagine.
Yes, you guys are on it. Okay, so since you're all such star players, we're gonna get to that action. It's a visual clue.
It's just right up there.
I know. But you know what? You'd be amazed at how many people do not pick up on that kind of thing. So, very good. Well done. Okay, so our interconnected themes, this kind of drilled down to last month. But we're gonna review what we've already done in the other 3 months, and we're gonna come back to this, okay? But our goal for tonight is, when we get to these 3 themes, is we want to talk about what you mean by thriving ecosystem, what you mean by access, and revive, by housing, walkable. Do you mean like houses on the river? Do you mean, are you talking about middle income, low income, multi-million-dollar developments? We want to know what you mean in those areas. Okay, so you're going to go deeper in each of these. But before we get to that, and that's actually what's going to go on your stickies. I'll get to the activity in a minute. Just hold them and warm them up, Travis. And we'll pass them along. Next slide. And we have more if we run out. Okay, so in last month, we talked about, hopefully this sounds really familiar to you. If not, raise your hand and we'll talk about it. But we have this goal, vibrant, healthy river with minimal sediment and thriving ecology. It's a mouthful. And remember, what's going to happen next is that we're going to go out to the public and talk about our themes. So we want to have them very concise. We want to have them visceral. and we wanna have them visual. So less words, being very, very concise. So we had all these related goals: protection, restoration, restricting access to portions of the river to protect it, setbacks from development, reducing runoff. These were all great ideas for the vibrant, healthy river, minimal sediment, and thriving ecology. We're not throwing this goal away. It's, remember, it's being rolled into one of those three themes. Okay, so nothing we see here is going away. We're just condensing for brevity. Okay, next slide. Also, our goal of enhancing and restoring the river ecosystem and sustainability. So we had restoration, riparian areas, remediate, revegetate, enhance, and restore. We also had this goal around protecting the river and enforcing the illegal and damaging behaviors. This is really important for, I'd say, pretty much everybody in the room. No one wants to see it destroyed. You'll see a lot of the repeats here, right? We want to be very clear about the businesses that impact water quality. We need to mitigate any plans. The setbacks again came up. They came up multiple times. And protecting the habitat. These all sound familiar, right? Okay. Next slide. Okay, our goals around beauty and views. We all acknowledge that we love the river. It's one of our favorite features in Truckee. So, one of our goals is well-crafted spaces to engage with the river with visual access walkways along the river, inviting bridges. And what does that mean? Is it pedestrian bridges? Is it multiple parks, not just one? Is it protected view sheds? Being able to engage with the river without access, so just looking at it as opposed to crawling down to an area that might be unsafe. And then another goal was improved and appropriate river access points. So do we identify specific areas on the river that we can access? Is it a free-for-all? What do we really mean there? And then improving those access points, so it's not, oh, there's another place in Truckee I could name where it's a free-for-all, but we don't want to create that in this part of the river, right? Okay, is this all sounding familiar? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next
Yep.
slide. Okay, aspirational goals or desired outcomes related to beauty and views. So we had access and connectivity to trails and downtown. We had additional parking space. We all know that it can be a little bit challenging down there. Multiple public parks at River Park Place at East River Bridge. So how do we create access but also accommodate the parking? How do we do that? And then improving education opportunities. And this is around ecosystem protection, restoration, education. Getting people to the river could be some of our greatest opportunities to educate visitors and locals alike. Okay.
Excuse
Next.
me, I have
Yeah.
sorry, I have a
Yes,
clarifying
yes.
question. Is number 2 parking or park? The middle one?
It's parking, yeah.
It is parking?
I think so, yeah.
Well, it does say
Oh, it is
multiple
park.
public parks.
I think it's some more parks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
More
more
parks.
parks.
More parks.
But parking has also come up. right?
Yeah.
Yes, but not,
This is a park,
But this
additional park
is
space.
additional parks.
In addition to the one that we're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay,
Good catch.
and then we had, these all came up at the end of the meeting, the aspirational goals or desired outcomes. We're getting a little more granular. So additional park space, not parking, improved education, access connectivity, improved and appropriate river access points, improved protection of the river, and enforcement of legal and damaging behaviors, enhancing and restoring the ecosystem, and then well-crafted spaces. I'd really like to know what people really mean by well-crafted spaces. In your mind, what does that mean? When you go to the river, or you're taking your kid to the river, or you're visiting mother-in-law, or whoever it is, or a visitor who's never seen the river, what do you think that in their mind, in your mind, what does that mean? So give that some thought. What is a well-crafted space along the river view? Okay? Okay. Next slide, I think we're, okay. This was our poll. Remember where we finally came and we were condensing into our 3 themes of restore, revive, and reimagine. And least popular was encouraging visitor-oriented businesses along the river. Pretty much a tie across the top. And revive is promoting appropriate development, promoting economic diversity and prosperity for residents, and providing mixed-use opportunities encompassing variety. So let's get into what that mixed use is. Why would you go to the river? What would be Revive to you? If it's a place that you currently don't go to, what would draw you to the river? Think about that with Revive. Okay? Next slide. Reimagine. These are from previous plans, so this is what's happened in the past 8 to 12 years, I believe, of planning, maybe more than that. Increasing restoration, that's always been a top goal. Preserving and enhancing the historic mountain character, complementing our historic resources, increasing public art, improving views of the river, and improving attractiveness of the streetscape and adjacent uses. Okay? Okay, next one. Okay, we're gonna come back to this. This is going forward, our engagement. Can you go back to the 3 themes slide, just so people, there we go. Okay, so your first piece of homework is solo. You're gonna think to yourself, and if you need more stickies, we have lots more. But you're gonna think about what does restore river health and access mean to you, okay? What does revive community vitality? I heard that economic word passed around, so that probably does mean there's an economic component to that. So what types of businesses would draw you there that you think would be successful, that the town would appreciate? And when I say the town, I'm not talking about the town, I'm talking about the community. Okay? Reimagining the vibe. What is the vibe that you want to see there? What's your favorite vibe in Truckee? What do you like to go do? What would you like to see more of? What would get
Or
you-
less of?
Hmm?
Or less of?
Or less of, yes. What's the vibe? Yeah, absolutely. More of, is it more peace and the sound of the river? The Sandhill Cranes? I don't know. So what could you look your neighbor or your child in the eye and say, this is what I imagine for our river? And remember, it's you, but it's also your community. You're representing your community when you do this. And it's not just today, it's for generations. So take a few moments, and then we're gonna do a little group activity, and then we're gonna start to sort these. Because what happens, this feedback tonight is, this is the type of information that will be presented to the public for feedback. So think about that, because you also need to be able to defend whatever you're talking about.
Do you want one idea per sticky? Is it okay to put multiple things on one
I think,
sticky?
let's do one idea per sticky. Yeah, and I'll pass some more around.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, that's
And
what
you
I
want
was
us to think about all 3 of those right now?
Yeah.
Or just one?
No, I'd say let's take some, we can do one at a time, but at this time of the day, my mind is kind of like.
I'm here for you guys.
Does anyone else need a pen?
Oh, it's done.
One theme,
Yes.
2 ideas.
I wouldn't start
Yes,
from.
Okay.
you can,
That's
yes,
good.
on your stickies, you can do, if you wanna just do restore 1 per sticky, or you can use as many, we got more stickies across the hall, believe me. But try not to mix up themes with
Right.
goals.
I can mix up colors though, right?
What'd you say?
I'm just being smart ass.
I am so shocked. Yeah, Sean is being
I'm
smart.
mixing up colors.
That's okay, we have another color.
One color per thing.
That'll be next month, we'll color code.
So Kristen, you want us to write the goal, restore, and then get really specific?
Yeah, be specific.
Yeah.
So we can have a conversation about it.
Switch pens.
We switched them? We did. Did I get, is that yours?
Yeah.
This is mine?
No. This was mine.
I just don't think that.
You can have it. I just have to write in blue. It's okay.
I get it. exciting. So now we're going to turn to your neighbor. Just go however you want to work it out. We're all adults here. If it ends up being 3, that's fine.
Can we work
You do 2, you do 3, that's all fine. And you're going to compare your goals, and you're going to pare them down to 2 to 4 per theme. And then we report out, okay?
That I could take off all of that.
Must be Wow. Okay.
Oh, I didn't want to do
I was getting confused there. Oh my God.
The type of people we're recreating, they understand.
Restaurants, coffee places, houses, open trails. Okay, so I had more than friendly, welcoming businesses, connected to our community, spaces,
So connectivity, sidewalks, bike paths. I didn't Long laid back, faces with stormwater, and then this is scalable, so we're doing like honoring scale as is today, and that's the small town vibe. So you imagine it's a vibe, or we're saying it's a vibe. I think part of what's been so challenging about planning is people feel as though we're urbanizing. Properties around here honor that campus. How do we do that? How do we say, yes, we want some new development, we also don't want to leave the town. We don't want super tall buildings and sidewalks that are connected. So we have to get this down to. More sophisticated. Right, yeah, I mean, I know, I was actually emailing.
I mean, it was designated access.
Oh, nice.
And I'm kind of, I would remember. There's a few, so I.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know the guy too, didn't do anything right.
I think that was Morty. There's something that Morty did.
Yeah, let's.
What's that?
That one was,
You know, I haven't talked to him.
I think it's right. And that's just like all like.
this is built environment.
Built, but you know, he has to want to add. Yeah.
With this year, but
Some of them have gotten a little blended, a little
Yeah, I want. So yeah,
yeah.
I see mine where
Yeah, no,
dinner.
I forgot to say, I put public areas for I was watching the news story
Right, exactly. But I think if we get a reminder, yes, thought.
Yeah, we want to go for doing
having a plaza.
Very obvious.
End up having just different, have a sense
So that way, people know how easy it is. I think that's often when we're like, oh, I don't know where to go, I'll just go right to the imagine.
I had mixed use, where commercial, industrial, retail, restaurants are all coexisting.
Yeah.
After there, I've got to go to fucking city and meet up with the food vendors.
So one to the other, and I feel like I'm switching.
Well, I'm gonna eat there too, so it's gonna be really hard to assemble the tacos.
Well, and I think that it is from vendors.
Yeah, I have to make sure it's I did their own
Right,
so they
but now
can
with some could,
Yes.
like how they honor and how they honor that history.
Nobody would do it.
So parts of like I totally understand.
Now we're like, how do we
It's too late with their jobs.
Pieces to honor trucks and systems, you know, and that's that whole public art. I mean,
But because they're in Carson, we're
when
gonna
we
be
proposed
getting
talking part of public art plan, there was that commission, you would have thought I was building skyscraper.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
because I was like, I can't drive.
Art by craft, now it's right, it's changed, it's not
Yeah. What else do we have?
an art commission, so I
I
know
can do
that.
worse things, right?
I think that's why I'm gonna take speech.
Yes. I was just,
We'll have plans. Not what this is. I don't know.
Like, I would totally just.
Modern buildings. Well, what do we want, how do we feel? What do we specifically want to add to the town? We can't say all
I'll
of
send you something.
Send me some info.
I would love to see them.
Okay, what about the
It would be good for public relations.
Yeah, definitely. I had to provide, yeah, I was thinking about this. And I said, also, I was across from or like small, have you know those sets, like a coffee shop, we all could see as inside in the coffee hours, and we have a lot of coffee shops, right? And so we have to that, that's why you're, that does help
Yes, and that's bringing, reimagining the type of habitat.
People walk and look at these viewing things.
More natural.
And just start talking.
I think that aligns with me, I feel like that aligns with you.
Oh, right.
I was waiting for the pictures to come out. Aw.
She had her first nurse and you don't know who's they just arrived.
So where are we?
So the first one coming up has happened.
How cute.
Community vitality. I got one on this. To me, like I was looking up there, the whole idea is like, what's the, like I, when I finished your revived corridor there, commercial. You're not a person.
Yes, you had different themes.
Everything should look the same, like you're touching.
Overlapping.
And see how it's all right? Like in the same that's what I think when I think mixture. It's not even like I don't think that
and just, if we're talking about connection,
My girlfriend
see that as part of this, I'd be curious.
when I picture that, I think it's
Kelly is doing Google pointers. Really? So cute.
The same thing as Beach. I had to redo them, everybody remember that? Speech things.
I don't know.
I'm trying to reach out to everybody.
That's how I feel like kind
From one to the other, like, maybe
I know.
It's the only thing I have. I go to my school.
No, I like the flowers. I've been in events where people would put down the flowers where Troy was at the event. They're like, me too. That was there.
So that's great, but yours worked, so I would stick in.
I think it's doing something.
I thought that was nice.
I'm eating more like
But I have 5 now, which work anything.
No, I feel like part of what I was part of what I
and 4 of them are.
Right.
Pretty exciting, isn't it?
I would never think about this. That's when it's like the first time I choose people. I like those different fruity ones. It's not implemented forever to enforce, but no, I think we're trying to still. A lot of people have been over the whole to downtown here. I know. Are you gonna come? What's going on?
Yeah. So who would like to report out? Yes. Or do you need to be voluntold?
Voluntold, yeah.
We didn't get to reevaluate.
I don't mind.
Okay, we're gonna go 5, and
Jeff
feel
also
free,
mentioned the realignment of
if you want, you can go up here and put them,
Put my stickies.
yeah, let's do that, let's like,
Let's say, don't ask me to
get it
write.
up on the wall.
Are you going all 3, or just starting with restore and then we'll go back around?
Yeah, let's just start with restore and then we'll go around.
Okay.
Okay? And we had a question from an audience member, prominent community member, about.
Mouthy one?
I'm sorry, was it mouthy or mousy? And the question was, we have restore, but we don't have protect. And it's my understanding, based on all the goals we did, is restore incorporates protect. And we're talking about restore, restoring now, but we're protecting into the future.
Yes.
Are we all good with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Committee? Okay, we wanna make sure.
Where's the alliteration?
Okay.
Okay, so we had kind of 2 themes. The first one was in inviting access to the river, but with that in access as well, and creating spaces through natural plants or whatever that looks like that actually make the river inaccessible, to make sure that we're able to protect it as best we can. And then the other one was kind of, which all goes, is like stabilization of the ecosystem in general. So really identifying what that looks like, which I think not all of us know right now necessarily, but the thing we talked about was stabilization of the banks, because you can definitely see that in a lot of the areas. So riverbanks stabilization, and then accessibility / inaccessibility in appropriate places to the river through nice walking paths. Those were our 2 big ones. There's more on these stickies though.
Okay.
There you go.
Great. We'll just go in order and then we'll mix it up.
Why don't you guys, why don't you?
Or I'll call
All right.
on people.
Okay. All right, good. Well, one prominent community member here said that education's a really important part. So idea of, and really reimagining that, taking that one step further than like a viewing platform or something like that, but having basically a real education through AI and whatnot to help educate why we're restoring the river. Modern stormwater management throughout the whole area, ideally coupled with redeveloped properties. And then we were talking about appropriate managed access and multiple public access points on the north side of the river, with parks and pedestrian bridges going over to the wild side. So more than is already in the general plan.
Okay, so tied to the general plan. And on the education piece, when you mentioned AI, I didn't hear experiential, so are you talking about, when you talk about AI, are you talking about what could happen, sort of worst case scenario type of things, or?
I think it's more about being able to connect people to the natural environment in the river in a way that is more more engaging than being able to just see, when you look at the river, you don't really see a lot of the fish and that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, what you can see is when people begin imagining with AI, with the platform or an access area, is that if they're thinking about a bass, the bass appears.
Yeah.
And what has to be restored for us to have bass in this river, or not? But a real high-end educational component.
Good. Love to hear Lisa's thoughts on that.
It's just an educational.
Yeah. Yeah, I was picturing like what they have at Sagehand a little bit, where.
No, a lot more high
The
end.
fish house, yeah.
Let's go to Norway or Sweden.
Let's just get out of this. Great, okay. Brian?
I was part of this group here.
Okay, Lisa.
Okay, that's our group.
Yep.
Okay, we've got a few.
Yeah.
Slap them up. Slap them up there. So we also had, part of our restore theme was improved stormwater systems through all of the corridor, but also I think with that and that, which one was that? Was also, in restore is also revive, and these kind of come hand in hand, is improved connected sidewalks. So like Jan said, so much of those types of improvements come with new development. So you're putting in modern stormwater, you're putting in connected sidewalks, right? A lot of our sidewalks don't connect. So that's restore and revive.
So you're talking about the infrastructure around the river as opposed to the river itself? Okay.
And, well, and thinking about revive and accessibility, how do people access, how do people utilize the corridor? So that's that connected streetscapes. And then we also talked about restore with bringing back the cottonwoods and having that type of restore be more natural restoration versus the built environment. And then we also, that's kind of two. You guys put that in.
Not follow instructions.
Always.
I still have it, there's still
And
more.
I think reimagine too, we talked about the vibe, and I think part of what our group, and I think we hear it a lot, is the concern of not honoring the small town character through new redevelopment. So how we reimagine scalable, but also how we honor the small town Truckee history and character. And also parking and revive, consider parking. And then I think, also, we have a lot of public art, right? And how do we bring forward public art that doesn't overwhelm the natural environment? Does that sound good, Travis?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're not anti-art.
We're not anti-art, but we're concerned, you said it in a good way, I think. We're concerned about overwhelming.
Yeah, we don't wanna overwhelm our streetscapes, our sidewalks, our plazas with so much art. But how do we honor history, how do we bring forward art that complements Truckee versus dominating the streetscape? So that's probably a reimagine. That's what.
Just a point of clarification, for some reason, we thought we were just talking about restore.
Oh, we are, just now,
Our presentation is done.
Nice job. You've heard from us. Our group is done.
We have a river expert. Tim, were you in their group, or are you going up next?
No, I'm going up next. Want to wait?
You're so on it, I love it. Just a second.
Tim's
No,
on
you- Yeah, just, hold on a second, hold on.
Over here.
Yeah, you can be, yeah.
On deck.
Okay, I have this amazing respect for Lisa Wallace and her knowledge of the river and the habitat. And I just want to hear a little more from you on the river health and access and restore, and also a little bit from Travis on, because I know you said, talking about doing nothing. And, can we leave it? I just want to know a little bit more. I have an amazing amount of respect for you too, Travis. I just want
Well, I'd say, but no surprise, I'm the Cottonwood person. I was like, oh, the Cottonwoods are our public art. That is our public art downtown, is the Cottonwoods. I really feel that on the slide, the 6 bullets, I think I was not at the last steering committee meeting. I think that work comes from the last month's steering committee meetings. I think you guys did truly a rock star job. Those that is what I would think of around restoring and river health and access, what's listed there. And of course, Kristen, I know you wanted us to be a little more specific. It's, for me, those things are specific.
Okay,
So,
that's fair enough.
and I do feel like y'all did a really, really excellent job last month. And I think, and I agree with everything that's come so far. I think that it's not at all surprising. It's not at all surprising. And it's deeply meaningful that every single person at this table and the folks here in the room prioritized the ecosystem health of the river so high. I really don't need to add to that. You guys have all done it, just
Okay.
an amazing work.
Great. And Travis, anything else you want to add on restore? Maybe yours is more in the reimagine, like let's not reimagine, let's. but-
Well, I'm just, talking about the public art. I'll go back to this. For a long time, I seen this, 5x8 sheet of plywood that said coming soon, nothing. And now we're gonna take and put a bunch of dancing band players down by the river. The river is beautiful the way it is, doing nothing to it and letting the natural stuff just kind of take over. And as far as accessing the river, it seems like we continue to block access to the river with boulders so people can't go and use, people have been using the river. Like we're concentrating on West River Street and East River Street. Like you can access the river anywhere, and that's your right as an American to access the waterways of the United States of America. And we're implementing plans to stop or choke down access. I don't understand that.
Okay.
So that's,
Okay. Fair enough.
I'd like to hear from like somebody that's a pro at what's going on with the river, like a hydrologist or something like that, that knows when people go enter the river, if that, what that does to the river.
She's sitting right next to you, Travis.
Well, and our consultants have they have great support in the hydrologic and other ecosystems realms, and we'll get to hear from them on those kinds of points.
And you feel like everybody is responsible when they go to the river, accessing it?
I'm not saying that, no, there's a lot of your responsibility, but
Yeah. Okay.
you build it and they'll come. What happens on the 4th of July,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, come to Donner Lake and experience that.
Correct. Well, we blocked
Alright.
access and parking out there too.
Anything else on restore from this group? No? Okay. All right, Tim. Restore. Just restore.
Just restore.
Oh, are we just doing restore?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna go back around for
Yep.
everything else. So we were just talking about basically cleaning the junk out of the river, the concrete or whatever, and just silt and sediment, kind of similar. And then also not only stormwater runoff, but also dry water runoff. That's it for that. The other two we're not doing?
No,
We're
not
gonna
yet.
go back
Go
around.
back around. Yeah, thank you for following instructions.
She's brutal.
I know, I'm sorry.
Working the same time. This is my first workshop.
Did anybody, so we talked about stormwater, anybody talk about like agriculture from the runoff in the river? Does that come up at all? No?
At the last meeting, there was erosion discussion. I mean, I think, we touched on some of it.
You could add it to mine, because anything that adds nutrients to the river is a bad thing.
That's what I want to hear, okay. I'm just facilitating. So anything that's adding nutrients to the river, because yeah.
It's a bad thing.
Upsets
Changes the
people.
water quality.
Yeah, anybody who lives on Donner Lake knows that. Yeah, okay.
Okay, restore. We spend a lot of time talking about river access, and I think what we discussed is having a limited amount of designated access points and really trying to make it obvious where those are, with signage and, Jessica, you mentioned planting, whatever it is, to really draw people to those spots based on expertise of experts. I'm not a river expert, but, to really help get people into designated spots rather than all over the place. We also talked education the AI idea is amazing. We were talking, signage, just to really help people understand what's there, what's being restored, what will continue to evolve as we're doing restoration efforts. We did talk a little bit with access points enforcement. How does that work too? Is that part of anything? If people are accessing it in the not correct spot, what would enforcement look like, or, what would discouragement look like? And then also something that kind of goes into the revive as well, but that is important to our river health, is the connection points, trails, and then also a connection point to downtown. Because we talk a lot about, we want people to park once and not have to drive around. So we put that in revive, but I do feel like that is an important part of limiting, greenhouse gas emissions and all the other things that go with people driving around a lot too.
Yeah, so there may be some crossover with some.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, Krista.
Okay, I was with Hillary and we had a few themes. BMPs for stormwater management from adjacent roadways and dirt parking lots, very specific. Riparian vegetation, talking about the theme that we've hit about education, responsible recreation, not littering, like the type of recreation that makes sense for our community, and restored riverbanks and wildlife habitat.
Great, okay. Joe.
We had pretty much the same themes as everyone, I would say. Clean, clear water, abundant wildlife as well as fish, and healthy native plants.
Great. Okay, so a lot of consistent themes, and what we'll do at the end, we're gonna go to revive, is that you're each gonna get a vote, you get to go vote up there with your pen, we're not gonna do dots tonight. Okay.
Can I add
Yes.
one thing on this that I think we'll have to discuss at some point, as we're gonna hear from the community on recreation, the people that want more access for swimming, for beach play, and even for kayaking. So it's something we'll need to think about,
Yeah.
even though none of us here have included that in what we envision in terms of access.
What
Was that
access
embedded
actually
when people
means?
said designated access?
What
points?
access really means?
We're talking, I think,
Okay.
yeah, but I think it is, recreation is up there on the 6 bullet points.
Yep.
And yet, yeah, it didn't really come up in this group tonight so far.
Right.
I think that is interesting.
Yeah, what type of access are you creating?
Yeah,
We have-
and what.
we have
and
fishing
what
up
kind-
there.
Fishing,
Which
yeah.
is fine, I could stop there, but I know.
There might be
I'm
others
gonna
that
add
might.
on- I'm gonna add on recreation access points, if that's
And
okay.
it- yeah.
Okay.
We
have
had
one of the
that
goals.
under reimagining.
Okay.
Kayak
Yes,
access.
I will open up.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of overlap.
You're nodding, Jen, but I
And I
know the
mean,
boxes.
I'll nudge her.
Yes.
That's why I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go backwards this time, so we're gonna start with you on revive.
Oh, can we include the public on Restore? Just since we're here, if the public would like to make a comment on Restore?
Let's do that.
Okay. Just, on because we're talking about the health of the river, one thing, like for example, planting cottonwoods, if you live on the river, what about all the beavers? So there's also a wildlife aspect that hasn't been mentioned. What about restoring and how does that get enforced? The wildlife that's getting pushed out with the more access to the river, et cetera. Even, where we live, there's bears still coming down to the river. There's coyotes coming down to the river.
I think they need to have a place.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and that also needs to be, I think, included in this discussion, not just the people, but yeah.
Okay.
You can make signs for the bears, this is where you get it.
Cross here,
bear crossing.
Thank you for speaking for the beavers.
Any other
No,
public
I'm
comment?
speaking against the beavers, actually. Against the beavers.
That's the only thing we're relocating, are beavers.
Any other public comment on Restore?
Keep the bears.
Thank you. We'll move on to Revive. And Kristen said I had to start. You could start. So we talked about outdoor-oriented businesses, restaurants, coffee shops, bike rental places, things that bring you, take people outside the building proper so that you can enjoy the river. Trails and housing throughout the corridor. And I always worry, I love the idea of more housing on the river. I think it's a beautiful place to live, as all the people who already live there would attest, as well as I do. But I don't want ever to have it where it precludes people from getting to the river. It's the same thing, a lot of Donner Lake is, housing makes private. And so I think we have to be careful when we do housing that we don't make it so we're blocking the river from people.
Great, that's perfect.
Could I suggest that everyone is kind of focusing on the river waterway. We have a bigger charge than that, and that is the entire of East and West River Street, both sides of the roadway. So it isn't just about the river itself, and
Yes.
maybe we need to kind of add that to our thinking.
Expand the thinking a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's particularly, I think the restore category lends itself to the river
Mhm.
corridor, but revive and reimagine for sure. So if you've still got your notes, so you can add on and.
That's true.
The group can
Yep,
refute
she's right.
that.
The other side of the river.
You're not done.
The other side of the road.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay. Okay,
Well, we had interesting themes. We both had walkable, including housing, traffic calming, enjoyable, safe place to spend time. I was thinking more along the lines of resident serving businesses. I lived in a community before where I dropped my car for an oil change and I'd walk down to the river and I'd hang out a little bit and sit on the bench. Then I'd go get some coffee or some lunch, and it was all, I could do everything within walking distance right there. And that's kind of like one of the things that I'd love to see is you could spend a day doing your errands around the river. And public areas for interaction. Almost like the public plaza maybe in the park, something along those lines where you end up naturally interacting with people other than who you came there with.
Great, thank you. Good point. And housing, when people say housing, try to be a little more specific about what types of housing you envision. Is it co-housing? Is it apartments? Is it beautiful, whatever it is?
Oh, let's have
Housing
some more
for residents,
McMahon.
second homeowners?
Yeah.
Housing for those
Looking
who
at
can afford it.
I knew I'd get a laugh. It's like, yeah.
Well, if it's new housing, none of us can afford it.
So I'll start off with where I left on the last one, a connection point to downtown. So again, that's us thinking more than just the river. So that way, and again, for the economy of getting people to move around our entire downtown area. We talked similar to Carissa, kind of neighborhood, small businesses, with the outdoor spaces tied in. So to encourage you to grab a cup of coffee and sit outside and have your kids play around. Definitely see, mixed use with housing. We didn't talk specific types, but I don't think we're thinking. Yeah, exactly. We're not thinking giant houses. We're thinking more mixed use with a little bit of business and housing. And then we talked about paths and parks. We also like that, and I think that's everything.
So, to me, like revive and imagine is so similar. So I'm gonna say both of them, but I actually have another idea for reimagine that I didn't mention in this, so I'll write that after this.
Yay, awesome.
But I would like, for me, and no one likes change. I totally agree with Travis. Like change is like uncomfortable, and when it happens, then it's kind of like, oh, it's not bad or it's nice. But like we're used to the same. Like we want the way it was when I was born and raised in Truckee. We like the old. We don't like a lot of redevelopment or people coming in from out of town. But like I mentioned at our last meeting, like most of this is private property, and it's being restricted and cannot be developed because of how the town has dealt with the building processes. And if people are allowed to develop their properties with restraints, obviously, then I mean it'll flourish. And I mean, people are drawn to making money, and if you can do housing and businesses that are approved in that area, and even with the receiver sites for the businesses that aren't approved, like it'll flourish for the whole area. And just, you know, basically, you know, that's my thought on the reviving is just allowing people to develop and putting little guidelines on it.
That's great, especially, you're born and raised here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, change is inevitable, that is
Yeah.
true. It's the only constant we have.
Mhm.
So, but that is actually what this group is doing, is putting that vision together, or at least
Yeah.
creating the vision that then the public can react to.
Right.
Thank you. Did you want to add anything up there?
Yeah, I do that.
Thank you.
But yeah, basically, I mean, and higher density is better. It encourages property owners, because they either want to sell their properties if they don't want to do the development, and the higher the density housing or whatever it is, the property's way more valuable. And so property owners want higher density. We personally, like I mentioned, don't like a lot of people by the river, but that's what the open space is for on the south side of the river. And that's the government land that's good as open space. But if it's private, let it be developed, especially if it's commercial.
Okay. Do you have anything to add? No?
You heard a lot from us.
I know, but it's all good. Okay.
Well, I do have something to add. I'm
Yes.
not totally against change. When I was a kid, you walked downtown and walked through dog shit, and she cleaned it up.
That's true. It was wouldn't have
So
sidewalks if it wasn't for staff.
I'm not against that, but, so cleaning things up and changing that, but like when we're, I mean, we have a giant bicycle downtown Truckee next to that used to be a service station. What is that? That's nothing indicating the history of anything about downtown Truckee. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm not against the change, but some of it like doesn't even make sense. So it's got to be sensible.
So if I write honor history and put it up there, are you okay with that?
I think you have that up there.
And we have it on one of ours, but I think what you're saying is that you're supportive of change, but you really want Truckee's history to be honored.
I would think that,
Yeah.
you know, you go to Virginia City, you look at that, there's power lines like everywhere. That's really cool. Downtown Truckee changed when they removed the power lines. It just changed the vibe. That's my opinion. But when the dog poop left, that changed the vibe.
That's how I got my start.
Yeah. We're gonna have a statue, Stephanie.
What's that?
Just because that was a good change. Yeah. And so if there's anything you want to add, you add it up there, Travis.
I think
Thank
so.
you. Okay. Got it covered.
You make a good point though, Travis, that originally, you know, downtown was becoming a very undesirable place in our community. And nobody wanted to go down there at all. And if it hadn't been for the change, we would have lost downtown for sure. We would have had a Walmart, and we would have all been like so many other communities that discarded their downtown. But it was some wise people who decided to really stand and fix it up, and probably it wasn't easy at that time either. There was pushback. Oh, we are here! Welcome!
I have drove around the lake twice.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we capture, sorry. No, you're go ahead.
Yeah.
We may have punted a little bit.
That's
before your
good.
visuals. I wanna make sure we capture that though, it's super important.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are a lot of cities that have done that and now they're down, nobody goes there, right? Not that we're a city, but we are a town where, we do have this amazing downtown. So if somebody can articulate that, because it is tied to the river. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have it under reimagine, but I thought it was worth bringing up at this point, is that I think it's really important that whatever we do on the river, that we connect it to our vibrant downtown.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about, potentially a couple, either railroad crossings or but really, somehow mitigating the fact that the railroad essentially is disconnecting downtown from the river. And so I think that's really an important point that needs to be captured.
You guys are up on Revive, but I also wanna there's something, I just wanna start to drill into this a little more, because this whole notion of keeping out big box stores and making downtown beautiful and preserving it, and that all came from people that really cared and loved this place. Almost everything we have up there is either infrastructure or something, it's a thing, right? It's a project or it's an investment, but somehow in the reimagine, the vibe is keeping that love of place. And how do we do that? That's it's a really important point. So thanks for bringing that up. Thanks for picking up the dog poop. Thanks for
Anytime.
reminding us of the history, because it's super important, right? People
Yeah,
cared,
it
and
is.
they loved it, and they,
Well, and it gets forgotten.
It does get forgotten, and I don't want it to get forgotten, especially in this process, so it's gonna go up there somewhere.
You've earned it back.
You
Okay.
have to read.
What's that?
You've earned it back since you're up.
Oh, you're right.
I tried to hand this
You
off to you.
tried.
Oh my God.
You gotta do the revive.
Yeah,
and
I'm doing
read
I know, well, I will.
I'll do
But
reimagine.
you didn't see that, but I actually passed it on over.
Oh,
to
you
Alicia,
did.
and she passed the notes back to me.
We're good at
well,
that
I think
tonight.
that similar to what other people have said about a vibrant, eclectic, mixed use, let's just say West River District, but I think it also applies to East River, with a mix of businesses and a mix of residential housing. And I think that at least I can speak to the fact that I'd love to see, the artist lofts blend with Martis Camp in all, together, so that we have the law, basically that there is bringing together of the socioeconomic strata together in West River. So, and I'm envisioning that we repopulate downtown a little bit, because I think that over the decades we've been seeing an exodus. Economic prosperity for local businesses, so I think that's really important, as opposed to chains, or if there's new residential, hotels or things like that, that it's more boutique and ideally locally owned. I think we got the kind of the place to be. I think that's really, really important, and I think Carissa had mentioned something that's like where you want to spend more time. Did I capture everything on this one? Okay.
Thanks for also mentioning the local businesses. I think all of us have an example of what happens when some corporate entity is, I won't mention any names locally, but is takes over businesses. Okay. All right, you guys are up.
Yeah, so we talked about the walkability piece, also sidewalks and lowering the speed limit, safe places for school or other types of buses to stop, and then mixed housing and businesses, kind of the same thing everyone's talked about, but we did write housing on the north side of the street, so just
Thank
wanna
you.
say stuff. We called that out.
Good.
Jan called it out on his end. So, yeah, but kind of the same thing that everyone's been talking about.
Okay. Great.
Kristen, something that I wanna
Yeah.
say that Jeff talked about when we were on our walkabout. It was really cool. It was a moment. And Jeff said, why don't we just move the road?
Yeah.
And then West River Street, let's move the road back and then build this amazing bridge to downtown.
Move the road near the railroad.
Yes.
Yep.
If you move the road to the railroad, you get one
Yes.
noise corridor. Because right now you have three noise corridors. You have the railroad, the road, and then the noise, the river that we all like.
Yeah.
So move the road up against the railroad, the road,
Yeah.
the rail. It's not that expensive. It'd be like $10 million.
Well, let me get into the cost analysis. I love it.
I mean, in the really big picture, it's not that much money.
When you think of all the. But I
Yeah,
did,
no, we
I
joke about that all the
did,
time.
I did not want us to lose that because there were all sorts of committee members who listened to this, and
Yeah.
we not
We
only,
imagined it too.
we
were like-
reimagined it, and then you could hear the river.
Yeah, and there we were walking on the road.
Yes,
We could really appreciate what he was saying.
yes.
We were
I also
terrified
think it's not
walking on the road.
Well, and it creates a more desirable housing location
It changes the entire dynamic.
if
It
it's
does.
not.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Between
either
the
change
road
everything
and the-
around the road and rail, or at least move the road. You know, rail's not movable, the road is.
Oh, UP would totally move it for us.
It's not a physics problem. The rail is a physics problem. This is a rules of
Yeah.
people problem and business owners, which is malleable.
Plus,
Yes.
there's a lot
Money.
of there's a lot of noisy dump trucks that run down that road, and it's because it's a quick cutoff to the dump.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so everybody runs right down West River Street.
Yep.
And it's pretty annoying.
And you're not that.
But efficient.
It's not your dump trucks.
It's very efficient.
How do you lower the speed limit? I heard that.
So
Yeah.
like the part where it's 45, if you're trying to make it more walkable, and if you're having more people and access to the river on that corridor, 45 is really fast.
Oh, for sure, but I'm
So,
saying,
I think
how do
you
you
would-
do that?
I mean, I don't think.
Well, you
I don't
have
know
to
the
do-
answer to
you
that
have to
question,
do
but I know you
islands and
can do
roundabouts.
it.
Yeah, roundabout.
Well,
Because
Move the
Or
road.
you move it.
Traffic
and
calming.
it's
Yeah.
serpentine.
right,
But
traffic
I'm thinking
calming.
it's pretty difficult to lower speed limits, am I
I
correct?
think it's a sign.
It's just
No.
Simple.
Change it to buy a new sign. I said that at a council meeting. Can we just get a different sign?
It's a little bit more.
I know. Not that much
Just a
more.
tad.
Time check, we're gonna go back
Okay.
around, we're gonna do reimagine, but that was a great example. When we're talking about reimagine and the vibe, like, that was a perfect example, wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
So don't restrict yourself to we wanna.
Well, that was
Ultimately,
Jeff,
we're
and
not-
I didn't want us all to lose that idea, because
Yeah.
it's a profound
Yeah.
reimagine.
There may be some land tenure issues, but, practicalities.
We don't worry about.
Yeah, that's not what we're here for.
Yeah, we're not here for that yet,
Yet,
Yeah.
right?
right, not written.
We're in the reimagine phase, so.
Yes.
Go
So
ahead.
we talked kind of, this was a little harder for us, we kind of know what we don't want more than what we do want, I guess, in this. So I said something that doesn't look like Disneyland, because it feels like when you have these kind of revitalization projects, a lot of places, what ends up happening is it feels really contrived and really built, it feels very built. And so that was mine, not to look like Disneyland. Mixed looking developments of different types of buildings, not contrived that true mountain feel. So, but we had a hard time defining what that like practically really looks like, but we're not designers, so that's not our.
I like the non-Disneyland, because
Not
that describes
Disneyland.
things pretty well, actually.
Yeah, and I know Pam was very important in the Napa Revitalization River, but there is a part of that looks like Disneyland.
It's true, I wasn't part of
I
that
know
one.
you're right.
I was only part of the first two phases, that was phase 3.
Yeah, and the community still talks about it, and it hasn't done well. Like
Yeah.
businesses
Yeah.
that go in there close within 2 years.
Yeah. You know, that is such an important point, because what happened, the steering committee was disbanded for phase 3 of the Napa revitalization. And the committee is what kept everyone focused with council
Yeah.
on not doing that,
Right.
those first 2 phases.
Yeah.
That's
a good
lesson. Is authenticity one of the guys?
Yeah, I guess authenticity.
Authenticity.
I'm just gonna break that up.
I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I know you're trying to keep us on track, but I think that there has been, I have heard, hey, we really need to rezone all this and bring in a big developer. And that's, in my opinion, not what we need,
It's the opposite of what we need.
Like, I think we need a lot of folks that already have businesses, already love Truckee, already live here,
Yeah.
to work together to create this eclectic vibe, because if you bring in $100 million, which actually doesn't go very far these days, so maybe it's 300 million, which is out there, it's going to turn into Disney.
Yeah. I completely agree with that statement. You have one guy who they build efficiently, right? And so that they will create things that all look alike.
Yeah.
Because it's efficient. But if you have lots, may not be as efficient, but lots of different builders, you're gonna get variation.
I do think we need a plan, and that may mean some rezoning.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
rezoning, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay. Where are we? We're at, you're up.
Oh, geez, okay. So, downtown as a trailhead, downtown as a place to put in kayaks, quaint outdoor dining establishments that bring people together, natural walking paths with mini parklets, places where you can sit alone with a few friends, or just go and have some solitude. And we also jumped in on Jeff's. I was walking with Jeff when we said, well, we could just move the road. I want to be clear that it's not an all or nothing. My guess is that it actually could be like moving mountains to move the whole road. But there's places where if you could put an extra curve into it, it would slow the traffic down. If you, for example, where there's a steep drop off, if you wanted to put a sidewalk there so you could actually enjoy the river, you could move the road by 4 feet and you would get a sidewalk, that kind of thing. So, did I catch Reimagine?
Yes. Okay. Lisa, do you have anything to add? No? Okay.
Super efficient over here.
You guys are so efficient.
I
Just
know, they do.
one comment on the reimagine that Jeff said was, is moving the road, if it was moved towards the railroad tracks, it does increase the property sizes for somebody, which is, would incentivize people to want the road to be moved and also, want to develop their properties to more extent, to a bigger extent. My reimagine is kind of a personal thought that I've had for years, living right, or not living, but my business is right at the far west side of West River Street. And if you walk across the street, that's right on the river, and there's a 2-acre parcel that's owned by Hendrickson, the same guy I lease from. And it's where everybody accesses the river and drops even the fire department goes and does river rescues out of that. And there's a little sandy beach and rocks there, and it's already naturally a place for people to hang out at the river. And I've always thought, man, that'd be so cool if you could just do a little campground, because it's 2 acres. You could, and it's literally already set up. All the homeless camp there already. That's why they put all the boulders up. They get the homeless out of there. But it'd be a cool spot. And once again, I'm on the private side of things, and that is a private lot. And if it could be used to develop, I know somebody for sure that would jump on that and do a full park with, the ability to make money, but also have an amazing 2 acres on the river, access to the river. I have it.
Okay. Put it up. Awesome. Richard, did he cover all your ideas too?
Yeah.
Anything else?
I abstained from the last two, so.
All right. Okay.
We mentioned things that a lot of people did. One thing is we said leaning into the trucky funk. And so again, to avoid the not Disneyland, the not commercial, but really what we all love about downtown and, incorporating that and just leaning in and through creative businesses, design, public art, but not too much, and just kind of leaning into that we thought was important.
Great.
We had 2 things which was interesting. This is where we realized we had overlapping views but slightly separated. I had mixed use where commercial, industrial, retail, restaurant, and all coexisting. Hillary had walkable and opportunities to view and hear the river and riparian ecosystem. And when conversation, we got to realizing I was focused on, because I lived somewhere where I had all those things right near a river, that was where like my mindset was, where Hillary was more imagining along lines of, if we set walkable opportunities to view and hear the river, we could set the tone where then the business community can follow that. Okay.
So not dictating, but
Yes.
if you create sort of that infrastructure, it makes it a desirable place.
You know, the other thing I keep forgetting to mention too is that we have also the beautiful Donner Creek
Mhm.
that
That's right.
is
Yep.
adjacent to this property, and it's magnificent. I played there as a
There's a
child,
mess.
I know you did too, Tim. And of course Joan did. It's smaller but magnificent and underutilized and does need restoration, I think. Maybe I'm wrong,
It's-
Lisa, but
It's slated for some restoration.
Oh,
This
good.
summer. This summer.
Good, good. But that could be included in our planning too.
Okay. We had connectivity sidewalks and bike paths and lanes, a casual laid-back feel, a hipster community, river experience, a friendly, welcoming retail businesses, connected neighborhoods, lots of great outdoor spaces, some wild and some formal.
Very good.
I like that.
Really
Me too.
like that. I like the wild and formal.
Did you say hipster?
I was waiting for Travis to blow up on that one. I was looking at you when I said that. Come on, there was a time in your life when you were a hipster.
Baristas,
Okay, so we have, we need to make a suggestion here, and that is we have a 5-minute mill about session where you take your pen.
I think we have to do some public.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I have to do one. Is there any public comment on Revive and Reimagine? Yes, please.
I would say under Revive, I mentioned it to this group, but just that this committee, throughout their planning process, considers parking. Parking on West River and East River is always at a premium, and as you consider, continue to rethink river access, just consider parking along the way. And then under Reimagine, just to always keep top of mind connectivity to downtown, which has been brought up so much. And reimagining it with, either overpass or underpass, which Jan brought up, but just really thinking about that because our historic downtown is such a jewel. And the river, this whole process is it shouldn't take away from that, it should complement it. So those are kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Jake?
I have something to kind of reiterate what Stephanie said. The whole north side of kind of West River Street, it's a huge area. Or not huge, it's a large area. It's as big as the rail yard. And so there's a whole lot that could go on there. And it would be nice if it was someplace you wanted to go. Not to beat up on Tim any, but nobody goes to somebody's private construction yard, equipment storage and stuff, making it someplace where there's a mix of businesses, a tire shop, or, as Carissa said, drop your car off to get worked on, and there's other things for you to do, so you don't have to drop off your car and get a ride, somewhere else. You can hang out. Lunches, restaurants, access to the river. So that whole area is part of this. And Donner Creek is there. The railroad is actually pretty interesting. The road cut, or the railroad cut, is really cool geology along that stretch. So it would be neat to have a mixed use area there. where you wanna go.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ralph?
A word that's been resonating a lot with me is the word balance. And what scares me, with change stuff, is our over-tourism. And it's a global problem, and many places have already had, really issues with it. We're, I think, on that tipping point that we would want to be, I think, very circumspect in what the development of any areas, north side of West River and so forth, build it, they will come. The more retail, the more shops, the more stuff, the more tourists, the more we have problems with the balance being such that for us local residents it becomes not very comfortable to live in a place anymore. And so I think we really need to be very conscious and mindful about what we're putting in that's going to just bring more and more people here. How do we balance that out before we run into the problems that Amsterdam and God knows other places, Venice and so forth, are just going under because. But I think we got a chance here in this conversation to really keep that up at a level of awareness in terms of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said.
Seeing no additional comments, I will close public comment.
Now. Okay, so we have 20 minutes, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna say 5 minutes for the end, but we're gonna take about 3 minutes and everybody's gonna get up with their pens. And this is, we call it dotmocracy, so it's honor system. But you're gonna you have 3 in each section. So you're just gonna put a little dot or a star next to ideas that you love up here, okay? And then you're gonna go back to your seat and we're gonna combine these 2 groups. We're gonna combine this group and we're gonna combine this group. And you're gonna define what restore means. We're gonna give that to this group, okay? Revive, we'll give it to this group. And reimagine, we'll give it to this group. And you're gonna put one sentence, what that goal is, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect.
It can be a really long run-on sentence.
It can be a really long run.
Hands and semicolons.
Take some of the ideas that came up in the discussion. So you're gonna take just a few minutes to get up, move your body, do your voting, and then come back and write collectively what that goal is. Okay?
A question.
Oh, no, go. Yeah. Oh, the engagement window. Yeah, okay, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, we're okay.
We're fine, yeah. So let's take 10 minutes to do this whole thing.
Kristen, can I ask you
Yeah,
a question?
of course.
I thought the purpose was to give the community as many ideas to react to as possible. So
Yes.
how are they going to do that if we're culling all this down?
We're prioritizing. So they'll still have all these ideas. We're not culling. We need to put them in, we're gonna put them in some sort of order. And then you're gonna write what these split, restore, revive, reimagine, what does that goal actually mean? Okay?
Just want to be sure the public,
Yes.
our community, can react to as many ideas as
As
possible.
many, and they can add ideas too.
Yes.
So at the end of the night, we're gonna talk about the next phase is, the engagement phase.
Right.
Starting April 1st, yes. So that was the part of the last 10 minutes.
That's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
But it is helpful to distill to make sure we're getting
Yeah.
the verbiage right as we're moving forward with the public, so they can broaden it back out
Yeah.
to we're communicating the right words.
That make sense? The last thing we're gonna do is.
Timing was.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think I'm struggling with it a little bit as well, just because I think that, I mean, there's very few mutually exclusive ideas up there. I mean, they all seem to, I mean, most of them, I would want to see in some, you know, some sort of vision document or plan that we're creating, is that we're looking for opportunities. Now, granted, some of them may be more important than others, and so I think that's what you're getting at right now, is that basically is to, you know, the highest priority items is what we're trying to distill down, is that?
Yeah, collectively, what does this group think is that, you know, we've got, can we do all of those things at once? Perhaps, perhaps not. But the other reason to look at this is to spur your memory of what we talked about, so that you can articulate what that goal is based on what we discussed. That make sense? Sometimes it's hard to think at 7 o'clock at night.
There's also a lot of duplication.
There's a lot of
there.
duplication. I mean, and we don't even have to get up there. If you've got it in your head, just we can take 5 minutes to write what the goal is. It won't, you know what, because we don't want to leave tonight without at least articulating that, so that our next meeting, we can start. We're getting ready to go out to the public with this, right? So what is gonna happen is, we'll take everything written up there and try to distill it down into categories. Because you're right, they're not mutually exclusive, there's some overlap in some categories,
There
every
has
group
to
came
be,
up with
like,
the same thing.
There's a level of information that people can take in
Yeah.
as well. So there's like, you can have all of the words,
Yeah.
but there has to be some distillation of it. So we just wanna make sure we're getting your words in that distillation correct.
Yeah.
Can I ask, maybe to clarify, so under restore, we have river health and access, but you want something broader than that?
A sentence. Yeah, what do we mean by that? Do we just mean river health and access? What's our ultimate goal there?
Maybe it's 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
Mission statement or something like that.
River
Mission
health,
statement.
access, and protection, as we heard from our community member.
There was in our last, like for restore, there was in our last session, a couple of phrases that came up that actually did a really nice job of actually pulling all of the ideas together into 2, maybe 3 buckets that then had these suite of strategies underneath them. Or, you know, this is how you would get there, which are a lot of the ideas, but this is how you might describe what we're trying to achieve.
You had something on a slide?
Yeah,
There
we'll
was-
put the slide up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other
Because
thing,
that was just in case you
community
think-
vitality, somebody said, oh, does that include the economy? So it's like, that question's gonna come up, we wanna articulate that in the goal. What does that mean?
Well, since we made a committee that's called
Yeah.
Community Economic Vitality.
Let them handle it.
I think we do.
So for all of the discussion that we had last month, the 2 top left, the left column, the top left and the middle left, essentially almost encompassed all of the other ideas. There were some other ones, enhance and restore, but there's probably like 3 or 4 different overall goals. And then there were some additional ideas that had popped up that I wanted to make sure, could we incorporate it into those sort of 3 different ideas, or do they want to stand alone?
We almost have it for restoration.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah. I think Alexis is wordsmithing it right at the moment.
And I can look at that top box and just take out with minimal sedimentation, because that is a vibrant, healthy river. Like,
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
so
Yes.
if you have a vibrant, healthy
Yes.
river, you don't have
You don't have.
sedimentation, so you take out with minimal, and thriving ecology, and I could be pretty happy with that as well.
Okay, say it to
So,
me, Joan.
I think.
Go ahead, Lisa's
Yeah,
got it.
so just, I mean, it has to be wordsmithed, right?
Yeah,
The
but-
Truckee River is a thriving, and it's too long for a goal and blah, 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 all that stuff,
That's
right? But the Truckee River is a thriving ecosystem, including protected and restored water quality, riparian zones, habitats for wildlife and fish, abundance of native plant species, and appropriate recreation access. I mean, it's not super exciting, but that's your guys' job.
I am so excited.
Well, that does really take,
that takes everything, that takes a little bit of what
Yeah.
everyone said with everything from habitat, water quality, restoration, making sure we're
Recreation.
dealing with,
Appropriate access.
Yeah, so.
Recreation access.
Oh, yeah, appropriate recreation access, there we go.
We'll have to dive into what that actually is later too. That's all.
That's a discussion.
I have a proposal for Reimagine. To have an authentic place with a mixed use of commercial, residential, light industrial, open space, and public places that honors Truckey's history, both wild and formal.
Nice.
We want to add
Yeah.
a log ride too.
Yes.
Historical back to logging.
Back to Disney.
I love that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Comma and log.
Right, comma and longer.
Okay, just gonna do revive.
Now we need revive. See?
So I started thinking, but it's similar to what Alicia just said, of like
Stole it from you.
a connected, eclectic mix of local businesses and housing. I don't have any papers, so I haven't written anything down. But something like connection was definitely a word.
Education, thriving.
Yeah, I think the Revive one needs to speak more to the economic side of what's happening.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
connection, I think, connection to downtown is a
Connection
huge element of
is
that.
huge. Connected, thriving, economic.
Center
Local
of
businesses.
trust.
Yeah,
Local businesses. Local
Lots of
oriented.
And the, I mean, the access
Yeah,
of.
just business,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
local oriented.
Yes.
That they serve the local community, not
Yes.
tourists as much.
I think if you use the word, the non-Truckee word eclectic, you need to counterbalance it with honoring Truckee's history.
Eclectically honoring Truckee.
Yeah.
Lots of brothels and.
Truckee funk.
Truckee
That's
funk.
That's the one.
That is true. We've defined that.
Yeah, we have a definition.
That's a safe word.
Yes.
That's good. Speaks for itself.
Got that, Christian?
I'm
It's got it.
I, for the most part, we'll work on that one. You guys, that's amazing. Look, it's 7:04. Now we have a good amount of time.
Okay.
Wow.
We have one last item. And I'm gonna turn it over to Stephanie. It's, the community engagement.
Oh no, I went through them all. I'm like, it's gone.
She was
Went so
fast.
fast?
Yeah,
We're so fast.
So we met with the, our engagement outreach group last month. It's been like it was last month, right? It was really good. So we have a strategy for rolling out engagement in April, which is anticipated to start April 15th. So we have a 2-week window where we're really just focused on, understanding goals, opportunities, the vision, so we can hear from, bring the ideas that you have shared out to the public and get more feedback back. So, again, our goal is energize. We like that goal as our idea for our focus for this window. We're really trying to have the broader community help us understand what does success mean for this study area, what opportunities and constraints do they see, but most importantly, what do they want the vision and goals of the project to be, so we can start to coalesce around a shared understanding about the purpose and desired outcome of the effort, and then also help to keep people engaged throughout this year process as well. So a part of it is starting to build those relationships. We have a lot of different ideas in terms of how we're going to listen and get that feedback during that 2-week period, and a lot of it is asking for your help to do that. So we'll be developing essentially a kit of parts for engagement information, so that you can have flyers, talking points, information to go out to engage with people, and then point them to an online platform where they can provide some input. Well, we are looking at having coffee talks, Truckee taco talks. We have morning things and maybe some afternoon things. Developing story cards, so similar to the exercise that you went through in terms of your 5 favorite things and 5 things to change. Helping people to describe their vision, as part of a story card piece coming together. We're looking to have 2 in-person workshops, one that would be in the corridor somewhere, potentially, I think on the East River side is what we were saying, by the bridge potentially. And then one that's Spanish speaking in person, and we're looking to see where that location might be. And then also one virtual meeting for Q&A as well. So that all of the outreach pieces in corridor, the in-person pieces, the virtual pieces will all be tied to, again, an online platform that people can then provide input in this one location as well. So an online survey and opportunity mapping tool. So we've also identified opportunities, potentially the Wilderness Scenic Film Festival event that's coming up in that window, to be able to have materials to, again, just make people aware and point them to being able to participate. Announcements at Good Morning Truckee, Rotary, CAT. There's other ideas. Again, we're really looking to you all to help broaden that, get the word out. And then we'll, as part of the next, maybe not the next steering committee meeting, but after, we'll have, again, this series of kit of parts piece with all of the talking points, and then also signups for who wants to do coffee talks, who wants to do taco, Truckee taco talks, and be able to sort of divide and conquer in terms of being able to spread the word broadly. Anything that the group would add from our discussion?
I think adding the Zoom, ability to zoom into this meeting is very helpful to the public, and constantly making them feel welcome to attend these meetings. I'm always thrilled when we get local people here to speak up and give us their perspective, because that's what we're looking for.
Great.
Their input.
Yeah, I think one of the good comments that we had too during this meeting was, although we have this window of time where we're really focused on getting feedback on the goals and opportunities, it doesn't mean that it's closed throughout the summer. The idea is, we'll likely pull together another outlet where people can continue to provide input that we might be able to point back in and check in on from time to time. So it's not a one and done, we're waiting, we're gonna hear back in the fall type thing.
Just want to add my wild, hairy idea of bringing, since we have so many special districts here, bringing special district boards together to a workshop, roundtable discussions, so that everyone, including town council, would host this kind of with members of this group, so that everyone's given the same information at the same time and can really hear how we do that.
That's under research, right? Under investigation.
Yes.
Under investigation, I know.
Yes.
Under investigation.
It's a lot of people to get together, so.
I know, well, we can do it.
I love.
And I know it's a heavy production lift, so it might not be possible, but doing some short videos on social media, not just static stuff, but some, yeah. You know, the usual stuff, Facebook, Instagram.
Did you have a comment on that, Katie?
Well, we have an idea to tap Tim. I don't know if he's been, he's informed.
We were gonna ask that, but we missed him.
So Tim's next up for our video.
Yes.
And then we have a video editing capability, so we have been getting some over to Braun, working with her on the town social feed.
So that's one effort. Is that the same as this effort, or a different effort, or parallel effort?
They're parallel, and we'll talk to each other.
Yeah. So that's great that that's happening, but for this window, like, it's a short window, so some intensity and video will help if we can get there. Video and social media will help for this 2-week window.
And I think, like, utilizing Map's great social media presence and everyone else who can tap into their.
To multiply, yeah.
Exactly, to multiply.
And Cat will.
And Cat, yeah. And the chamber.
Yeah, we were already told we were doing it.
Perfect.
Yeah. Works out great.
That's great.
Your information was well publicized as we look to see what.
Good. I love to hear that.
Are your engagement pieces similar to what we did on the Mickey?
Some of it is, yeah.
I think those could be really helpful.
Yeah.
I think people like that kind of thing, and they'll do it.
Yeah.
And you'll get then a few comments as well, you know, so you get the broad theme, but you also get a few comments.
Yeah, interact, over social media, you're thinking
Yeah.
through the polls,
Yes.
polling on social media, yeah.
Will we have like a flash survey at all during that time?
Yeah, it would,
Okay.
it's essentially a
Okay.
flash survey that it's,
Okay.
we usually use like Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey, or we can actually use Menti as well, it's the same.
Good job.
All right, any other great thoughts for us as we pull together information? We'll be bringing the draft materials back for you at the next meeting to review as well.
When will the dates, as soon as you have the dates for the coffees and the tacos and stuff, if you could push those to all of us, as soon as you have those dates, then we can be pushing them.
And then we can sign up.
We didn't really talk about this, but if we're preparing a presentation for the town council, and then you mentioned you were gonna present to Kat, is it helpful to put a presentation together and share it out, so if you wanna update your
Yeah.
boards or?
Yeah.
Yes,
That would be
great. We can do that.
We're gonna bring the districts together.
It's gonna happen.
I'll help with this.
Brian, Richard, Jeff.
Any other comments on this item from the committee?
Oh, one comment.
Yes.
We just experienced a huge weekend of storms. And we are so lucky to have Brian Wright of the PUD here with crews that have stayed up for 3 nights or 4 nights. And we can't forget to celebrate all of our successes together through such a really difficult time, so.
Yeah.
Crews did an amazing job. I take no credit. Definitely amazing effort by the crews. So if you see a crew member out there, thank them. It was a huge effort of 4 days in a row. You all had to experience it yourselves as well. So thank a utility member when you're out there.
Amazing. Mel.
I want to thank the town for the leadership on this. I think it's been amazing, and putting the packets together and making sure we have the information. I think it's been great, and it's great to be part of your team.
It's all a team together.
One big team, one big team.
I'm gonna open public comment on the community engagement piece. Yes? Oh, wait, both of you raise your hand. Kristen, you first.
I was wondering if maybe the Tart Connect is another way to reach another demographic. Because, for example, in my business, all the staff uses it, and that's a really wide demographic range. And maybe there's a handout or something in the seat or something that is a little card. That, QR code. Yeah, the QR code, whatever that is. Oh my gosh. But you see them everywhere, and I feel like that's an underutilized way of getting a word out to an important, range.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
There's a group that meets every Thursday morning at the rec center called Golden Meet and Greet. It's well attended, and they always are looking for speakers, people to give them information.
That's a good one.
So forth. That'd be a
great,
good group of people.
There we go. Thank you.
Does it serve
Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I noted Carissa mentioned she's working on stakeholder engagement, but through this engagement window, are you having any coffee talks or any specific engagement with business owners in the corridor? Is that?
I think that is part of the plan.
Yeah, that's the purpose of the coffee talks.
Okay, and then because I think some of my neighbors and other business owners might not be aware, so how are you getting the word out to all of us business owners on this stretch of property?
Part of that pulls from the good work that East River has been doing to go and get people's information so that way we can notify you. And then also this group as well to be able to make those connections and invitations.
Great. Well, if there's anything I can do
That would be-
personally, please
that
let
would
me
be
know,
great.
and I'll make sure Katie is.
Don't you have TDMA? I was gonna say TDMA needs to be,
TDMA.
yeah, on
Yeah.
presentation list.
The presentation list.
So did you not get a flyer?
I don't think I got the flyer that Carissa mentioned, but I've been aware of this process through my involvement with the TMA, and I would mention that the TMA's April board meeting might be another opportunity for engagement with local, downtown business owners. We don't have a presentation slated for the April meeting at this point, so that's the first Wednesday in April, so that's an option as well.
So Ren, maybe we could encourage more businesses to attend that meeting,
We could,
reaching out
yes,
to
we could put
West
it out
Palm.
ahead of time.
But I think what she's saying is the business owners don't know anything about it. And back to, you guys put a door hanger or something, or some card in the mail that everybody was supposed to get. I didn't get one, obviously she didn't get one.
Well, I know that it's a very difficult task, and the town's done a really good job of getting the word out. I did know about all this. I'm just saying, I talked to some other business owners downtown. I just want to make sure that if there is a part of this engagement window that's specific to business owners, that I know what that is, so that I can help, just with word of mouth with neighbors.
Katie?
Just to clarify, the door hanger effort was only to residents. So we had 8 bilingual canvassers knocking on residential doors in the project.
And the postcards went to.
The postcards were.
Went to property owners.
Property.
That we had addresses.
Yeah, so the actual business owner outreach is.
I agree, Travis, the bulk mail, or that's just not always getting received, that's why we went with door hangers,
But the door hangers went to who again?
They went to
Residents.
Residents.
Yeah.
And the mailer went to property owners, so we conveniently or unconveniently left all the business owners out?
I think we just haven't gotten there
That doesn't
yet.
make sense.
I think we haven't got there yet.
So that effort, Travis, was to try to fill 2 residential seats that are being added to this committee, so that was the call to action.
And the issue with the businesses is we're not trying to leave them out. We don't have very many addresses that are specific to the business owners. That's what we're trying to build.
And actually, a great way to reach those businesses would be to do another canvassing effort. In the future, not in the past.
Do you have other suggestions on how to reach them? I'm
Chamber
probably
has a good list.
One-on-one to.
Yeah, we
connect
do. I
to-
mean, I think this is what the other
Subcommittee is.
subcommittee, which now I can't remember the full name of, but that was what we've been working on, and, it's a hard process. I think we talked a little bit about it 2 meetings ago when I was here. Getting their actual mailing address is hard, because their physical address for a lot of those businesses is, they don't get mail to that, and so you have to figure that part out, and getting, the full list, and it's an ongoing effort, I would say, and Katie's point of canvassing is probably the right next step that we'll need to do, so. Yeah. It's harder than you would expect to get the information into the right people's hands, so. And everyone reads information differently too, so some people aren't gonna look at their mail, some people aren't gonna look at their email. Some people need to be called.
Is that like an article in like the Mushanny or Sun?
Yeah. That's a good idea.
It's cheap and easy.
I'm sorry, Jeff, what is it?
Article in Moonshine Inc. and or Sierra Sun. I have a column that will hit during that for Sierra Sun.
Great. Okay, we'll close comment on that item. And lastly, we have committee member updates. Any member of the committee have anything to talk about that we haven't already? Seeing going once, going twice. Okay, any member of the public have any additional comments? Seeing none, closed. We will call for adjournment till April 2nd. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody wants an extra piece of pizza to take home?
Yes.
Thank you.